So I'm doing a follow-up to my comedy video I did. I did a parody video of a Bible study about Deborah and Jael, and I just want to talk a little bit more about that. So Deborah was the only female judge listed in Judges, and she was one of the good ones. And there were some pretty terrible ones in that book. Definitely a must read. But as you read chapter 4, you find that Jael, another woman, was used by God to get the victory over an enemy. Now, you can get quite a few different things from that story, but I wanted to focus on the fact that sometimes God uses people that you don't expect. And this is pretty consistent throughout the Bible, of God using people that other people wouldn't expect, or unconventional people, or people sometimes not thinking that they're up to the task. Like Moses didn't think he was up to the task. He was like, I'm not good at talking. And he was like, use your brother, but you're going to be doing this. Or look at Apostle Paul. He was persecuting Christians prior to his conversion. And then after he had his experience, God spoke to Ananias, and Ananias was like, I know this guy. He's the one that's supposed to be like trying to persecute us and mess with us and so on and so forth and arrest us. And God was like, go and pray for him because I'm going to use him. There are times where we feel like that we can't be used by God, and whether it's because of a lack of skill or because of our past, God can still use you. Also, sometimes people think that in order to be used by God, you have to be in some form of ministry or some type of leader or some type of leadership role in order to be used by God. And, being used by God is not getting a microphone or having a platform. You can be witnessing to your neighbor, or just being a living example of the word in your community, in your home, and on your job. And there's so many people to reach. God wants us to spread the gospel, not just talk about the gospel in church or be used to talk about the gospel in church, but God wants you to be an example and to spread the gospel outside of the church walls and outside of a platform, outside of a microphone. There are people to witness to outside of these things. You never know. Just a simple encouragement and or prayer for someone in the grocery store, on your job, at your school can change and be so impactful to somebody's life. Planting these seeds are so vitally important. And throughout history, there have been testimonials of people who had these seeds that were watered in their lives, and they grew into so many great things. If you look at people like William Wilberforce, he was somebody that was encouraged by different people. Like, one of them was his former teachers that encouraged him, and he ended up getting saved. And then he was thinking, like, I don't know if I should stay in Parliament. And John Newton, who wrote Amazing Grace, encouraged him to stay in Parliament, and he was one of the key people that helped the abolishment of slavery that impacted the entire world. So you never know how powerful your witness can be, how powerful your testimony can be. God can still use you. You don't have to be a preacher. You don't have to be a teacher. Just be a witness, be encouraging, live the word, be an example of the living word, and just watch God use you. And yeah, you might not see the fruits of the seeds that you plant, but it's not about you anyways. You just do what you need to do what you're called to do, and just let God use you, because he's the one that gets the glory anyway. So don't worry about if someone rejects you, or if someone laughs in your face or whatever. You just be a witness, you just be encouraging, you just do what you're supposed to do, and let God do the rest. But be example. God wants to use you. Are you going to let him?